poppin', everybody? Hello and welcome to Popcorn Culture. My name is Ben Carlin and I am your host. Here with me today is my brother Jay and two special guests.
But not the most specialiest guests.
You know what? In fact, I actually think I have two other hosts with me here today. And then we have special guest Jay. Then we have Jay, the special guest, who's going to also be along for the ride.
This is the episode the most host I've ever been.
No. I think I brought in two special hosts for the day to accompany my special guest and brother.
Let me tell you, if this
Jay.
look, attention, Team Jazzy J. If this isn't riling you guys up, if you don't understand the fury, I'm sure you do because I feel it coming right out of my microphone right now.
Of course you feel it. Let's go ahead and introduce the other hosts of the day. As a one-year anniversary,
the lesser special guest.
What a terrible thing to say.
You have set yourself up for failure by constantly naming me the most special guest. So what did you think was going to happen?
I assumed that by having two special hosts,
you
hosts,
have dug a grave for yourself and fallen promptly in it.
I'm feeling okay with it. I'm not terribly concerned at all. Guys, as a celebration for the 1 year anniversary of the first episode of The Pop, we have brought on two special hosts for the day. We have Michael Austin and John Jennings, the other two members of the infamous GMA.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the Pop, you guys.
Oh my gosh, that was incredible.
It was
Like, we're sitting here and we're just like talking like nothing, and then you guys just went into like a 2-minute like spiel. It's just like, I wish there was a video.
When do I start talking?
Mike and
they haven't
John's
introduced
face.
me. Do I laugh?
Oh yeah, none of this is scripted, and then it was like this perfectly scripted thing.
Yeah, well, we discuss who the one true host, Jazzy J, is almost every week.
there is nobody who believes that Jay is the one true host.
I mean, my jaw is still on the floor.
Team Jazzy J.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it shows up that Ben's the host.
Well,
I think Mike and John are the host today.
no.
I think so too.
I think that's what's going on.
I need a
we have
script.
questions.
I need a script.
I need a
have
script.
questions.
I
Okay.
can't
I
flow
just
like
gotta
that.
pull my phone up.
So that people can get acclimated to your wonderful, unique voices here on the Pop. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Michael Austin.
Oh my gosh.
I'm Michael
Wow.
Austin. I do special things. My shoulders. I have these ginormous shoulder muscles. Like literally, the only thing I work out is my shoulders.
Just my shoulders.
It's just my shoulders. So like when I walk around, I can carry anything. That's Michael
Anything.
Austin. That's me, Michael Austin.
And I'm John Jennings. I recently redid everything in my house with my wife Sarah and my two kids. And I'd like to talk about how awesome everybody else is because I'm also just as awesome.
All right. I don't know if you guys caught on there, but they switched voices.
No,
They
Yeah.
switched voices.
I'm Mike.
I'm
Mike.
awesome, Mike.
So, Michael Austin, I feel like your voice being so distinct as it is, I feel like you have a special story about how
gosh.
your voice came to be distinct.
Oh my gosh.
'Cause you've got like...
This is like one of those like coming of age kind of stories. and,
So take this bag.
and I feel like this goes into also your comment about shoulder muscles.
Yes, it does.
It's like they're one and the same.
Mike has two key characteristics. One is his deep voice, and the other is his shoulder muscles.
And they
So
all,
he
and they
has
all
no
come from
neck
the same
anymore?
era in life.
And his strong right arm.
And it's just the one arm.
one
just the one.
strong
I'm like a
arm.
claw, I'm like a crab.
Mike, how did you get such a deep voice?
Well, in middle school, I remember everybody around me was always like going through puberty before I was. And I was like, well, I want to get through. I'm gonna make it sound like I'm through puberty. So I
Is
started
this your in your head voice?
yeah, in my voice. Yeah, that's my inner voice is a
That's the fifth character.
yeah. But then I was like, well, I'm gonna talk in a deep voice too. So I was like, deep. Michael
So
Austin.
you're actively changing the sound of your voice on purpose.
Yes, but slight enough that I didn't think that anybody would call me out on and be like, hey, what's wrong with your voice? It's like, no, it's just puberty. Like everybody goes through it. And then it hit, and then
double.
it stayed.
And
So
then-
Wow.
it compounded the fake deepness, and it made it even deeper than it is.
It made it even deeper.
So do you think you like trained your throat muscles like ahead of time, and then they were like, "Hey, puberty, let's do
Shoot,
it."
I don't even know if this is like
were you
a
just destined to
physiological
have this
thing that
voice?
actually happens, or if this is like what was going to happen originally, and then I was just like, it just happened to be this deep, or if it's even possible that like, hey, if I talk deep originally, then when puberty hits, it's going to be like twice as low.
This is like the best fake it till you make it story of all time. Right. I was faking having a deep voice, and then one day I realized I couldn't turn it off.
And one time I couldn't bring it back to normal.
And now I just continue to have this deep voice to this day.
And even through that same time, it was like middle school. I remember going through have back knee. So
This is the shoulders.
yeah, shoulders. So this is the shoulders part. Then I remember going through middle school, carrying those 80-pound backpacks.
Right. So you didn't use your locker at all. You were like you were just like everything is in my backpack at all times.
It's a waste of time to go to your locker. You carry everything on your shoulders.
That is so interesting because I was like, when we lived in Rocky Mount, the status quo was between every class lockers. There was
no, it's more time to hang out with your friends in between classes, transition time. You get to class early.
I agree.
Not saying I was the good kid, but I wasn't first person in class sitting upright.
I don't know if maybe you weren't allowed to bring your backpack around with you then. So it was just only what you need.
Oh, just the books themselves.
Just the books themselves.
That would make
class.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might have been what
I
was
specifically
happening.
had a backpack
Yeah.
with all my books in it. I think the only thing that was in my locker was probably a rain jacket or something. For the one time that it would rain.
I had severe anxiety in high school. My senior year. So I was a locker goer for freshman, sophomore, junior years. And then by the time I got to senior, I was I'm just going to carry all my stuff. And we had laptops. So a lot of the stuff was through the laptops anyway. And I remember I would just constantly trying to remember my locker combination in my head, as I'd be walking down the hall, even though I wasn't planning on going to it. And at some point in time, I just didn't know it. I did not know my
Do you remember what you had to
combination.
do to go find it?
I had to go and ask Miss Overstreet, my homeroom teacher, on several occasions to get in there.
What?
And it was the only thing I think was in there was my history book and my literature book, which you needed never in class.
The
the
literature
teacher
book was always 3 inches thick.
Yeah, it was
It was
ridiculous.
the biggest book that you had to carry.
It was heavier than half of the GMA Christmas presents that we wrapped today, which is saying something
boy.
because I would say
Half
half
of it was concrete.
were in concrete.
I don't think those were the heaviest though.
What was the
Yours
heaviest?
I think
the
mine was the
heaviest.
heaviest.
Yours? Okay.
Yeah.
all right. Let's give a quick recap on how GMA Christmas works. We have to talk about it as long as we have the guys here.
Yeah. So the reason we're all here together today is because just before recording the pop, we did the GMA Christmas for the first time in a decade.
Has it been that long?
I mean, I don't think
man.
When was the last time we did it?
Yeah,
Sarah has
when
never
was
been
that?
part of it.
Sarah,
and that's 10 years.
certainly. I don't think we did it
Sheesh.
after I went to college. I don't think.
Whoa!
Is that
how
right?
did this
It's been a
become such a?
minute.
It
It's
became
been a while.
I think we
I
did
would-
it freshman year of college.
Maybe we did.
Yeah.
I feel like the GMA gift exchange is a cornerstone of our friendship, and it's mind blowing to me to think that it has been that
Well, how many years did we
irrelevant
do it?
to our friendship.
It's been at least
How many years did
4 or
we-
5 years.
So it was a
maybe it
4 or
was-
5 year stint, and then we went through 10 years of nothing, and then here we go to bring it back again.
Okay,
and
bring
it's
it back.
like it never even happened.
It's here to stay.
Yeah,
It's here to
exactly,
stay.
exactly.
So this is the funny thing too. So I don't know if you guys experienced this at all as you were wrapping. So the entire idea is that we wrap our gifts so that they're as impossible to open, and we've done a variety of remarkable things in the name of this challenge towards one another. We've sunk
have.
things in ponds, we've buried things in fields, we've poured concrete, we've frozen things,
Wrapped
we've
things
used
in rubber
Band
bands.
balls. So much shrink wrap.
so much
Shrink
shrink wrap
wrap.
was the
Insulation foam.
yeah
Oh,
yeah,
the
yeah.
insulation. Yeah, we've told that's the insulation foam.
It was-
Mike dyed my fingers black for a
month.
a month.
Yeah.
It was something unexpected, but so great.
So, but here's the question for you guys, because I feel like when we first started doing it, it was there are two resources involved. It's time and money that go into wrapping these things. I may have spent just about as much money on my wrapping ultimately as I did on the gifts themselves, but I found that in the early days I never had really might have had an idea for something, but I couldn't even afford to do it. But then I had all the time in the world because
Yeah.
I just wasn't that busy. Now it was when am I going to be able to put this together? When
Exactly.
am I going to have the time to do it? But I can now functionally buy anything within the realm of $100,
Right.
that would have been more than enough to wrap these gifts.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. For this year, we set a limit for how much we needed to spend for the gifts.
Yeah.
Right.
But then as I was driving here this morning, I was like, wait, we didn't set a limit for what the wrapping was going to be. So it's it was unlimited.
It was unlimited. Unlimited.
Yeah, so
Which I think
It adds up.
which is
too.
fair. Yeah.
It's like
it does add
the
up.
specialized locks,
Yeah.
the
We
mini
all-
bottles.
So 3 of us used locks today.
Yeah.
Which I
Yeah.
thought it was very like escape room-esque.
Yeah. And
The
I think
way
It was puzzly.
And
Yes, it
escape
was.
room wasn't around when we did it before.
No.
Truth wasn't
Yeah.
like common.
So, okay, were you, because both of y'all's, especially Mike and John, were, I would say, very, very escape room driven.
Yeah.
Like, was that part of the inspiration that like went into what you did? And we'll start with John. Like, describe what you did and like, yeah, well, how did you get there?
Well, it was a combination lock. It was 5 combinations. So we like went and found the specialized combo. So it was the most combinations you can make. It had letters and numbers.
Right.
And so then it was like, how are we going to get to the combination?
So you started
And
with the locks.
So we started with the locks. That was the
okay.
building block. And then it was just
Did you
trying to
already
create
have the locks?
No, we found the locks.
You found them.
Or we bought them.
Okay.
we were walking through the
boxes.
We kept
What
walking.
did you
We
find
kept
locks?
walking. We kept walking. And then it was just trying to figure out a way. And there was all sorts of, ideas. And Sarah keeps laughing at herself that she's the person, she thinks she takes all these to the next level, like too far, too extreme.
Right.
And so she kept coming up with ideas. We kept walking her back.
So
What did
Sarah
we-
was
wait,
pulling you
Sarah
back.
was
Okay.
No, I was pulling Sarah back.
Oh, you're pulling. Man.
All right.
Sarah
See,
had
you were the only
crazy
one who
ideas.
had
She was like-
spousal involvement.
Yeah, so she was like having them put your hands in different things of like just terribleness. And so we finally figured out, well, first we had to travel because I live in Asheville. And so we had to come up here. So it wasn't anything like huge.
You
It
did
had to
have
be
a small
something small and
disadvantage,
like,
yeah.
portable. And so then it came up with the tasting, something that's just like, how can we taste something that can arrange in a certain way that makes the combination?
This spells out the combination.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so that's where we started. And so ours was little tiny airplane bottles, and we found like the cheapest alcohol, and then that's going to be your bottom level.
Okay.
So that's going to be your first combination, and then the top level is going to be like trying to find the nicest airplane bottles, and then you have to kind of taste them and arrange them out in order.
So yeah, you're
Right.
basically you're blind taste testing, and then Jay, I think you had vodka.
Yeah.
I had whiskey.
Right.
And Michael Austin had tequila.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we were basically having to figure out the order of our combination locks.
By tasting,
By-
sipping liquors
At
at 11:30 this
right.
morning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's 11:30, and you had to. There was because you had the combination locks were 5 numbers, so you had to figure out what so each of us had 4 of our respective spirit
Right.
libation and a water. And so you had to put them in order from cheapest to most expensive, based solely on taste.
Basically on taste.
And then once you did that, because they were in these little like glass bowls, they also had stickers on them, and the stickers were then clues to figure out the number, but the taste was the order.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I was actually maybe somewhat impressed with us for being able to sort those in accordance.
I know. At first I was tasting, I was like, I have no idea what to distinguish like nice tequila from like bad tequila. And I was like, especially at 11:30 this morning. And then it was like 5 different cups, and I was like, taste. And then the very last one was water. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad this isn't tequila.
Well, because yours are all clear. Ben's were all, colored except for the water.
Except for the water.
Yeah.
So it was very obvious. But no, it's interesting because I've always wondered about like blind taste testing before. Like I'm not sure if you could put a Coke and a Pepsi in front of me and I could tell you which one is which.
I'm sure you could.
Yeah.
I
that
think
was-
you could.
Those
yeah.
are pretty easy.
So that was some other ideas. We were going to go around and find coffee. And so we were going to get like Jiffy Lube coffee. We're going to get McDonald's coffee.
Wait, what
And-
is Jiffy Lube coffee?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, have you ever not gotten the coffee at like an oil change?
Ever
Oh.
not got?
Have you ever not gotten it?
Yeah, what are you, Mike now?
So essentially,
Don't
the
not
same-
ever not do the coffee. That'll make sense in a minute.
Makes sense. And then we were thinking about doing going and grabbing like the cheapest burgers at different fast food restaurants, cutting like a quarter off of it, and you'd have to arrange the burgers by where you think they came from to get them in the order.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Interesting.
What did Tyler just tell us about Wendy's burgers?
Oh,
They're like
they're the best because they don't cut corners.
they're square patties.
Yeah,
Pretty
They're
solid.
square
Pretty
patties.
solid.
Yeah.
No, so that was so fun though, and it was a nice way to kick
But
off.
that was the first part.
Yes.
So that was just the tasting part, and then you gave us the next present, which was concrete.
Yeah.
I remember holding it. It was wrapped in wrapping paper, and I was like, "What is it? Did you wrap a brick?" And I opened it up. It's a freaking brick.
It
of
was a
concrete.
brick.
In fact, it is.
In fact,
And then inside of that brick, we had to break through that, and was
like
a vial of coordinates.
Coordinates. That sounds weird. There was a glass vial with a Post-it note inside of it that had coordinates on it.
When did you figure out the coordinates? Did you like creep here?
No, you can do it. You can do all that online now. So I just zoomed into John's
wonderful.
house and we will post the coordinates.
Yeah, we
driving,
will.
showing up.
I love how so you had them stashed like underneath and inside of your car. So Mike and I had the exact same coordinates, and then very, 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 very slightly differently was Jay's coordinates, which were his mailbox, which was like 40 feet away.
Like right next to where you parked.
Incredibly accurate.
Yes. So that was super fun. So that got us through John's, which was a blast. It had a very National Treasure vibe to it.
Yeah.
And then Mike, what did you do? Because yours had a couple of slippery, unexpected things.
So I wanted to do a similar thing, which I find it funny that we all kind of gravitated towards the lock combination, or at least John and I did the lock combination idea. Mine was like the box of like covered in locks, and each person had their own lock, and to figure out the combination, they had to go through separate puzzles. And the first part of the puzzle combination was they each had a ball of knots.
It looked like
knots?
It looked like
Yeah.
cat puke.
It looked like
It looked like an
so it was like
owl
a ball
pellet,
of it was
you
a
know?
ball of strings, and all the strings had a bunch of knots in them, and all the knots had numbers written underneath within the knot itself on the string, and then those were all compiled together with Crisco to make it extra slippery and nasty looking and feeling.
Yeah.
Just like I think John and I both like sort of exchanged looks, and we're like, I don't want to touch this.
Well, and it's probably what 40 degrees outside.
It's
Right.
That was another thing. I
your
froze
hands
it
are
too, but it
cold.
didn't. I mean, fortunately, it was cold outside, so it didn't really matter. But the reason why I did the knots is because I remember the meticulous undoing of the rubber bands, and I was like, man, I freaking hate undoing rubber bands like a rubber band ball. So I was like, I'm gonna make them do knots,
Right.
and like grease up those knots and make them have to do as many knots as possible. And so that was the whole intent behind that.
So yeah, flashing back to
let me read what the knot clue was.
yeah, 'cause
Okay.
it was so hard to understand.
It was
Intentionally.
So each person, intentionally. Each person had a certain number of strings. So it was like, John was like, there are 7 numbers of strings, or 7 strings. The strings don't not have knots. There aren't not numbers written inside of the knots. No knots don't not have numbers. The strings will show you part of the combination. And that was just to throw them off, and it did.
They totally did.
They were just like trying to figure out, read between the lines, like trying to like see if there was like a combination that you needed to subtract and numbers or whatever.
So
Can you
yeah.
figure out the double, triple negatives?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have
we're
this
even
you have this weird clue. You've got these like both John and I had 7 weird gray different lengths of string that were all knotted in different amounts, covered in Crisco, with the idea being that like if you were imagine shoelaces basically. Were they shoelaces?
They were essentially a giant shoestring to begin with, like
Okay.
I think they were like a sweatpants string.
Okay.
30 feet.
Okay. Wow. So basically, if you
Sweatpants.
can imagine
It's quite a waistband.
30 feet. Shoo! If you can imagine, like, having like a shoelace and then writing like with Sharpie a number on it and then a knot around that. That was basically what we were like sitting there untying.
Yeah, but imagine someone pulled it real hard tight and then covered in Crisco.
Covered in Crisco. So we're all sitting there like, okay, this is what's going through my mind because forever I feel like Mike's approach to these things has always been like huge idea, varying execution.
Yeah, mediocre execution.
With-
That's why I was like, man, I hope this works out.
So with this one though, I'm sitting there and I'm like panicked as we're trying to undo these things. I'm like, we will be here all day.
Yeah, I
trying
mean-
to untie these knots.
Yeah.
Like Mike, you overshot it by like a mile. Like this is going to take us forever. And it is 1 out of 4 digits for each of our respective locks, which we don't know whose lock is whose.
Yep. Which you guys got that pretty quickly also.
It did work out.
Yeah.
We ended up being lucky.
Locky.
Nailed it. No, so I mean, I'm sitting there like staring at this though, and I'm like, half of me is like, we got to figure it out because otherwise, it's gonna feel like it's gonna be such a bummer if you just have to like tell us the digit, and like that would feel like, oh man.
And then the other half is like, I don't want to do this.
The other half is like,
So that's what happened to me. I kind of just stepped away. I was like, let John and Ben figure this out. I'm going to kind of like go on them and we'll figure these combinations out.
Because Sarah helping you out, and she was like getting Crisco on her hands. And
I mean, I literally.
And then Alice was helping, and I think Beth was even helping, and then Sammy even started to help, even though I told her what the clue was, like the whole point. And I was like, why is she helping him?
That's so
She's selling
devious.
it.
I know.
She's just
I guess
selling
so.
it.
Great sell.
Wow.
Great
Man.
sell.
And she was like, I got Crisco on my hands. Like, well, you didn't need to do it.
No one made you.
So why didn't we need to do it, Mike?
So in reading the clue, all you had to do was it said the strings will tell you the first part of the combination, and just the number of strings was the first part of the combination. So the whole clue was irrelevant.
Okay.
The knots were irrelevant. The Crisco was irrelevant. You didn't even have to.
The Crisco was irrelevant.
All you had to do was count the strings.
Everything. So I mean, you had what, 5 knots undone?
I maybe got 3 or 4. I think we knew the combinations were only four digits in the high, and it's like 0 through 9. So I think after a while, before we figured out that it was just the number of strings, you had told us that the last digit was it was going to be like trial and error. Like you'll get the first 3 and then you just have to like try every number till you get the last one. Well, I think I was pretty much resigned to, we'll just guess the first one too. Because what? That's only 18, 20 numbers, whatever. 0, 0, did that work? No. 0, 1, did that work? No. Like that was going to be easier than untying
Undoing
50
the knots.
All
knots.
these knots.
Like we'd still be doing it.
we would be. We would be. Yeah. Completely stuck on it.
Yeah. And then the second part of the combination lock was a picture of, it was a stereogram is what the name of it is.
Okay. Yeah. How did you even think to do that?
I don't know.
Where did you find that?
There's like a online stereogram creator, and all you do is like put in a number, make it how big you want it, and then pick the background that you want to place it against. And they just have like a wall of cans of beers, and I was like, well, this
That's
is pretty
awesome.
like solid. Other ones were like Cheetos or flowers, and I'm like, nah, that's dumb. So like the cans were pretty solid because like when I said find the biggest number, it made you want to look closely at the cans instead of like stepping back and then like trying to do like the little magic eye thing.
You have to, you literally have to like blur your eyes in order to look at it. Like I felt more nauseous looking at that than I did drinking, like 5 different kinds of bourbon at 11:30 in the morning.
Yeah. So then everybody eventually found what their large number was, and then the third part was GMA math.
Yes.
Yeah, oh, it was just so thoughtful.
It was fun.
I thought this was actually pretty adorable.
It was awesome.
So the GMA math took part.
Even if it wasn't correct.
It was correct.
Well, it wasn't correct.
The founding of the GMA
founding.
was too
It was
late.
2006.
That was the year I graduated because we started at least when I was a junior.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you were a junior?
Yeah.
a junior during cross country, so it's actually.
But I didn't start cross country until I was a junior.
No, but I think
And that's when I started hanging out with you.
no, but I agree. But there was a camping trip that we all went on with a fifth person named Ryan, who just didn't make the cut, obviously. Sorry, Ryan.
Okay, let's tell that story real fast.
He's gonna be listening.
That was the very first thing.
I'm
All
so
four of us
sorry,
all got-
Ryan, if you're listening. Okay, so the
is terrible.
the 5 of us went camping. It was the original. I wouldn't.
And we
even
brought 30 Cokes.
We brought, so we're like literally, this was the very, very early beginning. So I would say all of us have progressed to be like semi-outdoorsman-ish related type of people, camping. Like we like to be outside. This was us car camping at like a pay-to-park campground in Roanoke.
With
like
your parents.
Wait,
Yeah,
no,
your
Your
parents.
dad, was across.
He was like
the
on
campsite.
another
another
campsite.
campsite.
Yeah.
was he?
That's
Yeah.
how early
Yeah.
this was.
Wow, oh man, I don't remember that at all. I knew that I couldn't drive yet. Right? Yeah, I didn't have my license.
Yeah,
but at this point in time. But so we go camping with 5 of us, everyone present, talking in this conversation, and this guy named Ryan, and we were. I feel like at night we were just sort of like out adventuring and like walking the full campground, right?
We were going to go to the Quarry. That's
Were we gonna go to the Quarry?
Oh, is that what it
terrible
was?
idea.
Because on the Blue Ridge Parkway, and during our cross-country escapades, we
Like
had
an
like
active quarry.
an active quarry where people did work.
Yeah, if you look it up online, it's called Rocky Dale Quarry. It is like a massive, gigantic, like Grand Canyon. Well, not Grand Canyon, but like a huge hole in the ground.
Relative to Roanoke.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, and we one day during cross country, like despite this being very near our house, I had no idea the quarry existed.
Right. And it was probably less than 3 miles from our home.
Yeah, and like so some of the cross country runs would be on these trails on the parkway. And when you're on a big cross country run and there's, 30, 40 of you, everyone just the whole group's not together. Right. People, there's different groups, and the faster people are over here, and, people who are just goofing off are over there. And it's easy to get away with a lot of stuff because the coaches, there's obviously only 2 of them and they can't watch everyone, especially when you're running in the woods.
We were way too aware of that fact, by the way.
Way too aware.
Yeah, McGuire, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm Losel, McGuire. We're sorry about that. But a group of us just ran up and imagine just running through the woods on any other run and you stumble upon a massive hole in the ground, like a quarry. And we just thought it was like the coolest thing. And, we're like, what is this? Oh my gosh. Oh. And I remember there's like a group of us just like sort of standing on the edge, and clearly the people who work there, they saw us and were like, they did not want us there. They were like, these kids are here for trouble. I mean, I still remember this guy came rolling up in a pickup truck. He must have been going like 30 miles an hour, come flying at us. They slams the brake and he's like out of it in one motion, like, what are you people doing here? And everyone fled. He was like straight down a hill, and I was the only person left alone out there. And he's like, "What's your name?" And I was like, I so badly because of this
name.
Oh, I know. Because of this incident, I have like a backup name to use for situations.
You have a backup name?
Oh yeah. Like if I needed like an alter ego to like just throw out at a moment's notice, I'm like prepared now.
But you won't tell us who it is.
No, I mean I can tell you if you want.
What is it?
You just gotta. It's Mike Hodges. It's very believable, right?
Mike Hodges.
You even said it like with such confidence.
Yeah.
You're like hand on the hip. You're like Mike Hodges.
Yeah. It's Mike Hodges. What was yours? Yours was
Peter Carlin.
Peter Carlin.
I'm just part of the Carlin family.
Right. Yeah. Of course, the last name Carlin in our area is like the most recognizable name.
So it stands out a little.
Peter.
Yeah, and I remember just like the guy he was certainly prepared to yell at us, but everyone was gone. But he got my name and I guess knew what school we were from because probably I was wearing a t-shirt or something. So I remember
months
later, like during indoor or like during the
indoor track,
I think I must have been doing like sprinting this particular season rather than long distance. But the long distance team was out doing their regular runs on the trails on the parkway, and someone was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go show the quarry to whoever was with us." So I'm not even there.
It was me.
It was you?
It was me.
It was me.
I thought it
was Ben.
Well, Ben apparently shows another group of people the quarry. They get caught again, or at least seen. And I guess no one got spoken to because what happens is they now call the high school and they're like, there were some runners up here. We have a name, and it was my name from forever ago.
No way.
Yes.
Yeah. Mike Hodges?
Yeah. No. If only. No. They do. Yeah. I didn't have a fake name yet. So they just knew my name. So I just remember just sitting in Latin class one day, and someone pops in, and they're like, Jonathan, they need you in the principal's office. And I was like, all right. Of course I'm like nervous, but I'm like also sort of like, I absolutely have not done anything wrong. So part of me is like afraid like someone died or something. I'm like,
was any part of you wondering like, I wonder if I won an award?
Yeah.
Is this great news?
Am I the knight?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was not. They basically were just like, I remember getting in there and then our coach came in and like you're sitting with the principal and they're like, what did you do? And I'm like, well, I don't even know. What are you talking about? And they're like, did you ever go to some rock quarry? And I was like, oh, like with the cross country team, like 4 months ago. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that was definitely my fault because I got called out of history class and the same thing. I walked in and we have our coach McGuire there, who is like the best person. Like he was such a great coach. He gave his all to coaching us.
Yeah.
Like it was amazing. And you walk in and he was just like the last person in the world you want to be
don't
like
want to
so disappointed in you.
Yeah.
And he's just like furious.
He had a great mad face too.
Oh yeah, really good mad
Yeah,
face.
he made you feel bad.
Yeah, like
He made you feel real bad real quick.
do you, Michael Lawson? There was one time in particular we were at Carvin's Cove, which is actually where we mountain bike now, and I believe what we had done was placed rocks behind the wheels of the bus.
Oh man, I forgot about that.
So it wouldn't move.
Oh man.
As you describe that moment when the bus is silent and he's trying to go.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
It's not going.
How many
yeah.
rocks did you? I don't remember this one.
This it
probably
may
like
have been
big
after you
rocks.
graduated.
Yeah.
Well, the bus isn't very strong.
It doesn't
Okay.
have a lot of like torque, I guess. Yeah.
I just feel like it was just like whoa, 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 like the bus trying to go, and then it was just like
And then he turned
put
it
it in
off.
park, turned it off, and it just like started yelling at us down the aisle of the bus. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
He's like, "Who did it? Who did it?" And Mike's like, he like sheepishly stands up and like scampers off the bus, moves the rocks, comes back, sits down, like, "I'm so sorry."
And this is like my first year to cross country, I feel like. So I was like,
He still had giant shoulders.
made me look weird when I ran. I remember you said that I looked weird when I ran. It's like, you ran upright. It's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how you can look weird when you run.
No, he looked great, man.
So anyway,
so
we're
good.
camping with some guy named Ryan,
We're camping with some guy named Ryan.
and in the middle of the night, we're like, let's go to the quarry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened though? Because do you guys remember the hatchet?
We found a faucet
We found a faucet.
and we wanted to spray everyone. And
so
one
we-
person didn't want to get sprayed.
That person is not here.
I don't remember this
Who
at
would
all.
thunk that spraying was the initiation?
We found a faucet.
We had a faucet and there was a hatchet that was pulled.
I remember him pulling a hatchet like as he was like threatening to hit us or something.
Hit us with a
What are
hatchet.
you gonna chop my hand off or something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like, what
it
are you
was-
gonna
I will, I
do?
might.
It was such a disproportionate threat
Yeah.
to the situation. It was like we were like sprinkling each other with water, and it was like I have a hatchet,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, it was like, it would have been scary if it wasn't so ridiculous to think someone would hit you with a hatchet.
yeah, exactly.
Like, what are you gonna hit me with an axe right now?
Right,
Like, I'm
right.
sorry.
Yeah,
It was such a tense moment.
it was a very tense moment. It was a very
I was
tense
like, I don't really
moment.
know this guy that well. Will he do it?
Right, because this was, I mean, realistically, I think that this would have been really our first foray.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
where we were all out, like doing something. So it's so weird to look at it now because we've been friends for like 15 years, but at that point in time, we've been friends for like 15 days.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like it was very different.
Much less Ryan. Like, I mean, I didn't really know him. I knew that he was your friend, and I was like, I mean,
Yeah,
he
but
must
he
be
was
cool
your
if he's
friend.
your friend.
Wow, way to put it on me. Oh man. So anyway, I guess that was the origin story of the
I guess
GMA.
so. And it was apparently in 2005.
Oh yeah, that's apparently 2005, which I got my math wrong.
Okay, so this
So I
is
thought it was 2006.
this is part of Mike's GMA math though for the next portion
Long
of his
tangent.
of it. Yeah, I mean that's how
love the
podcast
tangents.
works. But so he's got multiple numbers that we're trying to uncover for each of the combination locks, and so this is like a myriad of different numeric milestones in the GMA's history.
Yeah.
And all of those numbers together would ultimately lead you to the number 5.
Yes. Yeah. Even to the point where it's like, I feel like the one that I was trying to pull back, like, because multiplying the numbers got me some extraordinary, like, 56,000 number, and I was like, how do I get back down to 5?
I gotta, like, range this in.
I gotta pull
way
some
too large.
division, some like subtraction. I gotta pull it back some.
Square root.
Yeah, but then I think my one that really that sealed the deal was the Batman and Robin one. I was like, nobody's gonna know that unless John remembers it, which I feel like he would. And he was like, it was like for my third birthday. It's like no, third grade, way different.
Third grader.
So okay, yeah. So this would be predating me and Jay being involved with the GMA.
You guys didn't
So-
even live in Roanoke.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
You guys were just the A then. Still missing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
do that now.
associates.
Yeah, right. So I guess that y'all at John Jennings' 3rd grade birthday, you guys saw Batman and Robin the
Yeah,
movie.
we all watched a movie.
And so that was the clue. Was what
It was
year
a-
was it?
It's
yeah,
still
what
known.
year? No, how long has it been since we watched it on his birthday? I didn't even say what birthday it was, so you had to remember that too. And then it was what, like 15 years or something, 20 some years.
It was too many years.
Yeah,
So
it was a lot of
old.
time. But then, I remember before we even started like recording, it was just like, man, how bad was that movie? Like, it was so good right off the bat. Like, when we first started watching, it's like, yeah, I got it on VHS. You want to come watch it?
This is the George
actually-
Clooney Batman.
Is it
Yeah.
called Batman Forever or is it
No,
Batman and Robin?
It was
Batman and Robin.
I had to look
Yeah.
it up. I had to make sure.
Mike's like, I fact checked.
I made sure.
Okay, I had it
It's
covered.
with Freeze.
It was Freeze.
yeah,
Schwarzenegger
Arnold
and-
Schwarzenegger.
And it was so good at the time. But then it's like, then you compare that to Nolan movies, and it's like, oh.
Oh, I know.
Oh,
Basically, yeah.
jeez.
I feel like the Nolan movies were another set. Like, I feel like, John, you and I watched Batman
Oh, yeah.
Begins
Like 20 times.
10 times together. Yeah, like a lot.
Yeah, this
This was
was
so good.
That was
Yeah.
the funny thing about that reference inside of this clue for your rapping was that like the Batman association I would have had would be Jay and John Jennings and Batman Begins because I remember that was like such a thing and it was always like if we were like spending the night at John's house it was always the movie that was like you guys want to watch Batman Begins?
I don't remember how it ends.
I never got
rewatch
to
it.
end.
Like everyone falls asleep.
Right. Yeah. So no, it was amazing. But no, I remember Batman and Robin being in theaters because I feel like we saw it, Jay, with Mom. She used to do like movie marathons.
Yeah.
And we saw that the same day as Good Burger.
Yeah.
And it was we got
What
to
a
see
combo.
we got to see
We saw 3 movies that day.
maybe.
Burger
Yeah.
and Batman and Robin.
I know, 2 like all-time classics as far
So
as
you
I'm
guys would just
concerned.
watch 3 in a row or 2 in a row?
Yeah, well go ahead.
Yeah, I think our mom really liked going to the movies, or maybe it was just a good, easy thing to distract us or something. But yeah, on this
Look how that
particular
paid
day,
off.
yeah, I know. Now look what happened. We went to. I remember that specific day. We saw 3 movies at 3 different theaters.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, we went to one theater, saw a movie, went to the next one,
Saw a movie, yeah.
So that was really fun.
It was really fun.
Yeah.
We should do that more often.
Yeah, maybe I'll take Luke and do that sometime.
Do a
Luke and the
movie
I
boys.
feel like with little kids, it's probably not as fun.
I don't know. I think we must have been fairly little because it was before we moved.
It's true. Less than 11 for me.
Man,
Yeah.
Noah does not like watching movies.
What?
He will get bored of it in like 30 minutes.
No way.
Yeah.
Surprising.
Like I went to go take him to like Age of Ultron
Yeah.
at like the one in the Cinebowl.
This is your 10-year-old son Noah.
Yeah, but at the time it was when the old Age of Ultron came out, which was I don't know how long
yeah,
ago
a
that
while
was.
ago.
So even younger than 10 years old.
Right.
But anyways, I went to go take him to the IMAX in Blacksburg, and it was amazing. And he was just like, "Hey, is this almost over?" Like 30 minutes in,
Oh,
and
no.
I was like,
Like into an Avengers movie.
"Let's watch the movie."
Yeah.
It's not even like close.
We're literally just beginning.
Yeah.
I know. It's like, you don't like this?
The,
He's like,
the
"No,
Avengers
let's
haven't
go."
even assembled yet.
Come on.
Oh, man. Yeah, he's not a movie guy.
Do they assemble in that one? I feel like there's a
they
money shot from every movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's like in the first 2 minutes, like there's that big like group shot of them like flying through the air.
You're right. They have assembled already.
Fight
That's
like Thor
that's
or
my
something.
that's
They've
my fault.
assembled.
They've assembled.
they've assembled.
He was
You're
like,
right.
"I've seen it all. Let's go."
Yeah.
That's it.
I've already seen the shot.
Yeah. That's the one.
So okay, so that got us into Mike's present though.
Yeah.
As we tangent back.
Yeah. As we
Into-
come back to the GMA gift exchange.
As we come back to it. Okay, so then Jay,
yeah.
as you're rapping, you went old school.
I went old school. So what I did for my gift, I wrapped everyone's in one really giant block of ice.
It was a block of ice.
It was a
It was
real
a
big
colorful block of ice.
It was. So, because, yeah, I was trying to think what to do. And again, I ran into the problem of what am I going to, like, I don't have a ton of time to dedicate to this.
Right.
Every single day. But
I feel like you had to have a little bit of time
I needed a lot of.
for the freezing aspect.
Yes, I needed a long amount of time for the freezing to happen,
But not a lot of daily
not a lot
time.
of time to spend on it,
Like tinkering time.
Tinkering time, right? So basically, I just had like a real big Rubbermaid container, and I was pouring in like a 1.5-inch layer of water, and then mixing in some food coloring, setting into my chest freezer, letting it freeze, getting out the next day. Rinse, repeat until big old rainbow block of ice
Yeah,
was completed.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Did you have the vision of the rainbow before you started, or did
Yes,
it
I
kind
did.
of go?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the plan. Was to make each layer its own color. I think I was thinking it would look even more vibrant than it ended up looking. I thought it looked pretty good.
It did look very good. I was
Yeah.
gonna say that's the thing though, is that like you've always got your vision in your head for how you want it to work out, but then like nobody else knows what that vision is.
Right.
So they see whatever it is and they take it as like brilliant, amazing, a big colorful block of ice.
Yeah.
Like what could be better?
What could be better? And I mean, the food coloring, at first I was just like, okay, this will be cool. It's a big block of ice. And I liked this idea because throughout the history of the GMA gift exchange, people had tried ice before. Like we had, freeze something in a big old block of ice. That'd be hilarious. That'd be awesome.
It was always the idea that would strike you like a little bit too close to the event itself.
Yeah.
You'd be like a day before, and you'd be like, I'll freeze something.
Yeah.
And it's like, you were underestimating how long it takes to freeze a block of ice.
Yes, exactly. So this time I was like, all right, I got like 2 weeks and I can plan it out and I got a big old container and a real deep, that's the other problem is having enough freezer space as a teenager to do it.
And especially, because like you're not gonna tell your parents like clear out the freezer.
Yeah.
I got an idea I'm working on.
Did you have to take stuff out of your freezer?
I did not.
See,
That
that's the
was
thing though. This is part of being an adult now. We have chest freezers.
Yeah, I had chest
What
freezers.
access?
It was very nice. And as I was going there, all I was thinking initially was like, okay, it'll be cool to just have like the rainbow block of ice. That'll be its own thing. But as I was constructing it, I realized it might be way more devious than I had initially thought of. Because as I was adding the food coloring, my hands kept getting, if I even if I pulled it out of the freezer and it was nice and completely solid, if I just touched the top to be like, how solid is this? My fingers would be red from the layer I just touched. And I was like, oh man. And I realized that like by the time this is done, it is going to be like heavy, like real heavy. And like the act of moving it at all is going to require them to pick it up, which is going to be problematic because it's going to be freezing cold and slippery and heavy. But the extra layer will be that it will also make them messy.
Yes. So we show up this morning and Michael Austin and I are both wearing the same
shirt,
the same
essentially.
white thermal shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's
And-
like, that might be a problem.
It's like,
I didn't know.
yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
well, we needed prompting. Yeah. Clearly two of us got it completely wrong.
Look, you guys know the deal. You know how this game
Right.
works.
Okay, so
Well,
then
I brought an extra pair of shorts or pants and a shirt just in case things got messy. So
I love that, by the way. Like
make
the
sure.
preparedness.
Right.
But
Yeah.
so Jay, I have to ask though, were you at all disappointed in the way that we unwrapped yours?
Well, I mean, it was a little bit. So what ultimately happened was that we had a fire going, which I knew we were going to have the fire, and I wasn't even concerned like, oh, just use the fire to melt the ice. I was like, you're not going to be able to. Even if they do that, they're going to have to pick it up to put it on top of the fire.
Right.
But they wouldn't do that because they might risk burning the gift inside. This would be no good. And it would put the fire out. It would defend itself.
A fire that I will say that for self-proclaimed outdoorsmen, air quotes, could not get going
It
today.
could not get going today. Yeah.
We had a lot of nice smoke.
We got great smoke.
It might have been better if it had gotten going because the solution was that you guys picked up the logs that had not been burnt and were able to pretty swiftly smash it.
We were
Yeah.
like, okay, we were like wailing
Yeah.
off this thing, like with these Neanderthal clubs.
Yeah.
So I would splintered everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything all the way. I literally was pulling splinters out of my hand during this podcast. I have one right here.
Nice.
From-
I was disappointed because I thought I had thought of like everything because I was like, okay, if it was me and I'm like looking at my yard this morning, I was like, I feel like the fastest way to get through this, like no matter what, time will defeat the ice on its own because it'll just melt.
Yeah.
But we don't have that kind of time. What are we, untying knots here?
Covered in Crisco.
No. So I was like, the fastest way would clearly be just like spray it with the hose or like dump water on it and just like let it melt off in that way. But probably you didn't notice because you smashed it with logs, but I removed the hose from my yard.
So you were like thinking ahead.
And I was like, you know
No
what?
hose for you.
I was like, you know what? I also moved the kiddie pool and any buckets out of my yard that were back there. So I was like,
Hilarious.
even if they just take it to the faucet to turn it on, they're going to have to pick it up. And that's already game over.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah.
yeah.
The pure irony, of course, being the fact that you gave all of us hatchets.
Yes.
Which, thank you, by the way.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Which, of course, would have been spectacular tools for getting inside of it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I thought of it all, but I didn't expect the Neanderthal nature of the logs.
Of the logs. But you know what? Like, I got splinters. So, silver linings all the way around.
Exactly.
All the way around. So we got through it. But then, I mean, beyond that, though, so my hands destroyed from the logs. Then we had to make sure Mike's hands were ruined by way of my wrapping. So
Oh man, freaking.
I had no idea. So I also went for like a locking scheme. So I had like honestly, this was like the part that I was like maybe somewhat embarrassed about was I just took like a large Rubbermaid tub with like holes on the sides and just like padlocked them shut. I was like, realistically, if they get like 2 of these, they could like just wrench it open. They could probably just break the lid of the box, like if they so chose. But you guys played ball, which I thought was I was
Like the
Yeah, that's
underlying
part of
rules.
it. Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate that.
Well, you know.
I felt like
Jay's like, you guys did not play ball.
I feel like my chest was like at risk of being like smashed.
Oh yeah,
My little
during
che-
the knots.
Yeah, during the
we were
knots, you
gonna
were
stop.
like, we can smash it. We can smash it.
Smash it. This isn't a
It
strong
was.
chest.
I will not lie to you. If we
This is
had
for
to untie every single one of those knots, Mike had this like adorable little like treasure chest looking box that 9-year-old me would have killed for.
Yeah.
I would have wanted the box more than I wanted
Exactly.
the gift itself. And he had it like all padlocked to death. And all of us are sitting there trying to untie these Crisco knots, like staring at the box like, you are going down, man. Like,
Throw it in the
good
fire. We can
stop.
shatter it.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Yeah.
we will ruin you. So it's respecting the game.
Exactly.
The nature of the game. Yeah. So for whatever reason, for my wrapping this year, I was like really big on shapes. I was like, okay. Geometric shapes. Yeah. I'm gonna have geometric. Nailed it. I was like, I'm gonna have a sphere. I'm gonna have a cube. I'm gonna have a pyramid. And it was like,
And they were wrapped perfectly. Brown paper.
Yeah, they look so good.
thank you.
nice ribbon.
Thank you.
The presentation was perfect.
I appreciate it. I've been big on my wrapping this year. The twine really is what sets it off.
Yeah,
you
it is.
know?
Right.
Yeah.
That's one of your favorite things.
Twine.
Wait, twine.
Like brown paper packages wrapped up with string.
Is this a? I feel like that I can hear the lyrics.
Yeah, this is from a song.
Okay.
This is from The Sound of Music.
Got it. Okay.
I don't get this.
I was recognizing that it was a reference without knowing the reference itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was like, okay, so I'm gonna kick it old school, and I once upon a time I had wrapped a butterfly knife because in the very early days of the GMA gift exchange, apparently we were determined to give each other weapons.
Yep.
Like,
Always from Walmart.
There was Walmart, or there was that kiosk at the mall.
Oh yeah, that kiosk.
Yeah.
You know the one. You're all like every teenage boy listening to this podcast knows the kiosk at the mall that sells the weapons, and you're like, man, I really want. I don't know. I don't.
I
it's
can't
like,
wait till I
there's-
turn 18.
there's no reason at all. I have no reason to own a sword, but it's like, God, I want it.
But there's a samurai sword right there, or like Wolverine claws
Yeah.
for $40. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, need.
Two of them.
So yeah, 2 of them. So in the early days, I had this idea, and I feel like none of us really did. Jay did it a little bit, but none of us actually wrapped the gifts themselves inside of the difficult wrapping. We all had like vehicles to the keys to locks that were inside of the wrapping. So once upon a time, I had taken like several pounds of rubber bands and covered this butterfly knife that Mike had to just then like untangle forever. And so that was like one of the early things. I was like, okay, like no matter what, like I know I'm doing the rubber band ball. And then one of the other big ones that we've done is concrete in the past. So I had made like a 5x5 inch cube form to pour concrete into, which, okay, this was something
It's a
I
big
didn't.
thing on the pop.
It's a big thing. Yeah. All about pouring concrete,
Yeah.
man. Like poured a huge pad in
Yeah.
my backyard and now hit a lock or a key inside of a smaller version of the one I have in my backyard. It's like Tony Stark's arc reactor. You know, he's got a huge one at the warehouse and a small one in his chest.
There you go.
Yeah. I got a huge one of these back home.
Yeah.
But
You
this
like
was
concrete? Come home.
so this is what was interesting though, because John had wrapped with concrete as well, but you would set your concrete in the past couple days.
Yeah, we use the Quickcrete, so 24 hours.
Okay.
But we're traveling from Asheville, so we picked it up yesterday from
Right.
Lowe's, and it's 30 degrees outside, and concrete doesn't set in
Right.
30 degrees. So we poured outside. Everyone's freezing. My kids are helping me. Amelia grabbed this giant stick. She wanted to help mix the concrete. The concrete is literally like sand at this point. It's not. You're not pouring this concrete. And so we got something that worked. Kind of this clay mixture. Kind of shoved it in there. Nothing happened. It was still liquid. We had to take it inside and sit next to the heaters. So we kind of got some sort of like solid clay.
Right,
mass.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And they got into it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I feel like we were able to basically use one another's small concrete bricks to smash each other's concrete bricks.
Exactly.
And it was I felt like we made shockingly quick work of a brick of concrete. And I don't know that this was something that I was like worried about or had even a lot of consideration for so much as just I wanted to make sure I had it done.
Yeah.
And so I poured yours like a month ago.
Oh.
So you had like rock hard concrete.
Yeah, it was much harder than the bricks John had concealed his coordinates in.
Yes. With the only unfortunate side effect of I didn't have the foresight to hide the key in like a small vessel inside of this.
Right, yeah.
And so in the process of destroying the concrete cube.
Yeah, I also destroyed the key.
Yeah.
So that was a
Turns out the
problem.
metal is softer than the concrete.
It
Yes.
turns out.
Well, I basically just took a hammer and was just wailing on it, and it eventually cracked.
He looked a
Right,
lot
which
like
was very-
Thor.
Oh, thank you.
I would say, the resemblance to Chris Hemsworth immediately. It was like,
Yeah.
as soon as you
I
picked up
get-
the hammer, it was like,
Oh man,
I know.
that guy.
That's a little
right?
bit of lightning.
Concrete stands no chance.
I know. The concrete's like, that guy's got big shoulders.
Watch out for that guy and his friend.
So we ultimately got through it, and then Mike got through his rubber band ball, and then John's was I was using like 2-part epoxy resin to like pour a pyramid of.
So Ben creates this like beautiful piece of artwork. It's this,
Oh, man, it was so
and I'm
pretty.
an architect, so I open this thing up, and it's this clear resin pyramid with this like beautiful key floating in the middle with my initials on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not opening this.
This is better than whatever's in the
This
box.
is
Ben.
this is going on my desk.
It's part of the gift.
Yep.
So it all worked out. So I had my backup plan was that they had to convince one another. This is really just a Ben Carlinism anyway, but they had to take a tequila shot as an upper. No upper tequila.
upper.
Right. It's an upper. It's
tequila.
It's the argument I always make.
Right.
Which is actually factually inaccurate.
All alcohol is a depressant.
Yes. But as long as the guys could get everybody to agree to also take a tequila shot as a collective, then I would grant my backup keys.
Right.
And then we got inside.
So we got inside.
And I still have the pyramid.
And John still has the
That's
pyramid.
the most
John did
important
not
part.
smash the pyramid.
It's actually twice now. There's another GMA gift that Ben made me that I kept the wrapping. He got me
Really?
this like beautiful little lockbox. And
Oh,
that was just
yeah.
part of the gift wrapping. And at the end of it, I was like, hey, can I keep the box?
Can I keep the
And
box?
Ben was like, yeah, you can have it. So I still have it.
That's so
That's
awesome.
fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I had forgotten about that until I was rapping. And I was telling Allie about it because I was like, I have a feel. It was my prediction that was going to be the one that we didn't want to destroy.
Yeah.
So I had a feeling, and I'm glad it worked out. It was so much fun though. Like the entire process of GMA rapping to me it's such a blast because it is this like shortcut between having an actual reason to act on a ridiculous idea. Like how often do you have like a ridiculous idea, but then it's like, well, we can't really do that. So like, we're not going to do it. And
Yeah,
this is like,
nobody's gonna enjoy it. So, like, if we took these gifts, the way they were wrapped, quote unquote, wrapped, and handed it to anybody else, like within our family or like another friend, they'd be like, "What the heck are you thinking? Like, no, I don't want this. I don't want a freaking rubber. Like, just I don't want it. I don't want it. It's not fun for me."
right. Yeah. What is it? 3 pounds of rubber bands?
Yeah.
Tightly wrapped around a key. No, thank you.
Here's a block of concrete. Your part of your gift is in the middle of it.
It's the experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
But nobody else would enjoy it or even like relish how much thought and effort was put into it. And it's like the gift is just a nice little end goal that you like, oh, okay, this is fun. Like, but then the whole process of unwrapping it is more of the present than
It's
the
the
present
gift.
itself.
I completely
Itself.
agree. It's the excuse because if we had all just like agreed like, hey, should we like exchange gifts this year? It would have been like, yeah, like we can do that.
Because how long did it take us? We started taking
2.5
shots. We started
hours.
sipping tequila and bourbon and
and vodka,
at
11.
11:30, and then we
Yeah.
finished at like 1:40 or something.
Right.
So it was a long time. It's a lot longer than Here, unwrap my paper.
Your son seemed kind of bored.
Oh, he's always bored. He's always bored.
Sorry.
Especially if, I mean, I feel like if he were involved in this, which I feel like if we were to do this next year,
Should he
that
be?
we can do. And I'll get him involved, and We'll be
he'll be all
double,
about it. Oh,
double up. Yeah.
That's the thing though. So this is like, it's like the early inspiration, I feel like, where maybe now he doesn't appreciate it, but it does feel like the type of thing where I feel like,
Oh man,
Oh yeah.
like the generations that come after us of our like direct children and stuff, I feel like are going to
Right.
want to do this. I think.
I mean, I feel like if I was him at his age, I'd be like, well, I'm not getting anything out of this. It's like, it's boring.
Right.
Like, you unwrapping rubber bands for 45 minutes.
should I take
Just
Noah's
watching
gift
you.
and like
Oh, absolutely.
do something to it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That would totally be
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
100%.
Okay. I like that. I like
Get
this
him in on the
plan.
fun. But come high school, he's gonna his buddies are gonna be.
Oh,
like,
he's gonna be
gonna
worlds
like,
beyond us.
Well, he's gonna use all our ideas.
I know.
He's gonna have an arsenal of ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, by the way, this particular, in case you're like listening and you're like, I cannot picture what's going on. Jay did vlog the entire experience.
Right.
So if you do go over to Jay's vlog channel on YouTube, you can see the video portion
Yes.
of everything.
Of the GMA gift exchange.
Did you guys video any portions of your rapping
rapping? Oh,
experience?
yeah.
I was
No,
already
you missed
done
it.
before you had asked.
Before
I did,
the-
and I had a
wild.
5-year-old daughter, and she was just so excited about everything.
Oh,
trying
really?
to describe it, so it's really cool.
Okay,
That is so
excellent.
awesome.
Well,
That's
yeah.
fun.
That is so
My
awesome.
son didn't really know what I was doing with concrete, but he helped me find sticks to mix it with. So.
There you
Aw.
go. Hooray!
So everyone was
Helpful.
involved.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing.
There you go.
That's amazing.
Yeah. No, I had Luke. I have so much food coloring at our house because we were teaching colors to Luke and like how they mix, and you like do like, make cups of water and be like, oh, mix them together, now it's pink. So at first I was like, oh, it'll be fun, he'll know what's up, he can come like, help me mix it or whatever and pour it in. And immediately he was just like, I was like, okay, because I wanted to do like a rainbow pattern, and he was not having it.
No.
It would just be like, no, we're gonna do it in blue right now. I was like, I want to do pink. Like,
No, we're not doing blue.
Yeah.
Blue doesn't make pink.
Yeah. I want to do pink. Like, we'll do that in a couple days when that turns color. And you're like, no. Like, okay, never mind. You can't. This
Big
isn't a
giant
game.
Pink ice cube.
That's
Right, right.
Just pink. Like, why pink? Yeah, it was the whole thing. Yeah.
It was the whole thing. That actually would have been hilarious if you came out with this like fluorescent pink brick of ice. Like,
Here you go.
Like a
why?
baby announcement.
Yeah.
Luke.
Yeah. Yo, baby announcement. Surprise.
Oh yeah, that'd be something.
No, that'd
Twins.
be yeah. Whew. No. Oh my gosh. Boy, that'd be some news to hear. That's like, guess what? I'm pregnant. It's twins. It's girls. What? And be like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
Here we go.
I'm not ready for this.
I'm never sleeping again.
Never again. That's it. Time to shotgun Red Bulls.
Yeah. Like, yeah, we're
Wait,
doing a bit
oh
of
my
fun.
gosh. Like, yeah, I feel like that's a perfect segue into all of the early camping experiences with us. Was like, as high schoolers, I feel like we were reasonably tame kids. We weren't, but we were not.
Fire's going.
We were-
Sorry.
It's fine.
It is, the fire is finally burning
How is this
outside.
Left
happening?
the
Like nobody's
backyard.
out there tending to it, and it's like roaring right now.
Roaring fire. It's like like an
Can't leave 'em-
inferno.
can't leave 'em by
Sorry,
themselves.
distractions.
No, that's okay. Should we all go jump over the fire?
We are good at that.
We are good at that. We could take slow-mo video.
John, by the way, is the best at that.
Probably.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Randomly
Jay does
can
have
jump
more
so
stuffs.
high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My shoulders weigh me down.
But so I would say, okay, we were constantly getting in trouble in high school, but like we were almost never actually like properly guilty of almost anything ever. Like we were always bringing energy drinks, soda out like into our excursions.
Oh, yeah.
But it was we were never bringing like libations with us. You know, it was always just these
Very sugary drinks.
very
it was just-
sugary
it was
drinks.
And we
just
never
like
actually
sodas.
drank. It was like,
Well, yeah, that's the thing. We go on some camping trip and bring like 50 sodas as if like each of us was
We're
going to
never
drink.
sleeping.
Yeah, 10 to 12 sodas that night.
What,
Like,
okay,
what?
did we think that's what was going to happen? Like we were all
I think
pretty
I
smart.
think we had like 12 packs of like or cases of soda that were like, okay, you like Dr. Pepper? Well, I like Mountain Dew. Well, you like Coke. And so we're like kind of doing the variations.
Right.
And then so it's just like instead of just taking 2 or 3 per person, it was like, all right, well, I got a case for you, and then I got a case for you, and then I got a case for you.
Yeah.
It's like perfect. Thanks, man.
And now we'll have 48 beers and 4 people. Not beers, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
sodas.
Sodas.
Yeah, so, and it never makes sense to me because it would just be such an illogical amount of liquid to
Yeah.
consume in one evening,
Right.
regardless of what it was.
Right.
Like bottled water, still no.
Yeah. It's just too much liquid.
Too much liquid.
Yeah.
But so, John, I feel like you wanted to set the record straight because we've told the story on the pop before of how once upon a time we went hiking Dragon's Tooth, a decision we made, I'm pretty sure at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And I feel like, so the story as we've told it is that Mike and I carried the cooler basically from the parking lot
Essentially.
to the tip top of the mountain. I feel like
With no help.
Yeah,
no
well,
assistance.
John and I get out of the car and we pick up this cooler and it's heavy.
Heavy.
And so
48 beers.
we know that
Sodas.
we're gonna switch it around. Everyone's gonna carry it. And so John and I we're gonna do the first carry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we carry, and the bottom of Dragon's Tooth is flat.
Yeah.
And so there's little slight switchbacks, and then as it goes up the mountain, it's like rocky, and there's like actual like ladder portions. And so we carry the first, half mile, maybe quarter mile. Half mile, maybe being generous.
Combined.
Yeah, combined. And so then we're like, all right, well, we did it. We'll hand it to you guys. You guys carry for a little bit, and if you're
Yeah.
tired, we'll take it back. Well, they start carrying it, and John and I we
off.
did carry it. We didn't
carried
go the
it
whole
at
way.
the beginning.
Okay,
Yeah, we did carry it.
Yeah.
So what you wanted to clarify is that
We did
on the 3 mile
participate.
hike up, you guys were willing to cover the first quarter mile.
Well, of course.
Exactly.
Just
Glad we
clarify.
settled that.
And then take off. Yeah.
Because I think when I was being portrayed that I didn't carry it.
right.
And then also, we got to the top. And you portrayed us that we weren't worried about you guys because it took a while.
It did.
So we did turn around and we came to find you. And we found you on the wrong trail.
We were on the wrong trail.
There was like almost no speaking. I have this vivid memory of like we came up on you and we're smiling and Mike puts this cooler down and he like turns away from us and she's like, I'm so done with this guy.
It wasn't because we had like this backpack cooler thing but everyone already had their own backpacks with their camping stuff. So I'm pretty sure you guys were like koala carrying it, like front packing it.
Front back
It was
yeah.
terrible. And then the cooler didn't have like the waist strap.
Yeah.
So it's just all shoulders, which also helps explain his shoulders.
It was Mike's strength. Yeah.
It was. Give it to me. I got it.
The title of today's episode is going to be Mike Has Huge Shoulders.
Maybe.
Yeah, so we got up there though, and of course that was the evening that we had. I'm pretty sure was it a 2-person tent or a 1-person
So
tent?
it was a gift. My mom got me and my brother a 2-person tent each. So we each had these little tiny tents, these little pyramid tents.
Yeah.
And so that camping trip, we were excited to use it.
Yeah.
And I think I explained to you guys, I got this 2-person tent. Like, it'll be fun. We can use this. And I thought that someone else would bring a tent. And turns out, I think we got to the top, and it was like, it was the only tent.
I feel like if you had announced that it was a 2-person tent, knowing that it was 4 of us, I feel like somebody else would have chimed in and been like, "Oh, like we need to figure out like 2 more people."
These are the same. These are the same 16-year-olds that thought we needed 48 sodas for 12 hours in the woods.
And like,
I feel like you may have disregarded the fact that it was a 2-person tent. I think you just said, "Oh, I got a tent. I'll bring that."
Yeah, that's possible. But also, like, did we have a group chat back then? Like, how did we have these conversations about like let's meet up? Like, I can't remember how that worked.
I guess I don't think we really had texting. No.
Yeah, so it's like the 2-person tent now, group chat. I have a 2-person tent. What can we do?
You know what? The other problem was that no one brought a tent because we kept losing them.
That's true.
We did. We
lost
had
more tents. Than
How
most
many
people have
tents
ever
did we
owned.
lose?
I'm pretty sure this was a Ben Carlin problem. I think it may have been largely my fault that this would happen. I think I was always so, I don't know if the word would be trusting or lazy or I don't even know what, or overly
Tired in the morning?
confident that I would be more wakeful in the morning. Yeah.
Well, you also always had a job. You had always the morning that you had to like get up and leave.
Right.
And so everyone else was like, oh, I guess we'll just get up too.
It was never. That was also the other thing. That was never an excuse for us to not do something.
Right.
It was like I got to be at work at 9. It's like, well, let's go camping. We can roll out by 7:30.
We'll get up early.
No one sleeps anyway on the Coke.
Right. Yeah. All the Coke.
Like real Coca-Cola.
So I feel like over and over again we kept like I don't even know if we were like pooling money money or taking turns, or if we were just taking like dad's tent, whatever the case may be. But like we had just situation after situation where we would get out to like these obscure campsites, almost always where we were lugging lots of like our camping gear out to the middle of nowhere. And then there would be these moments where it'd be like the middle of the night and you'd be like, should we go like the Waffle House / like go back to someone's house and fall asleep on a couch? And it was like, yes.
Batman Begins. Anybody?
Use up for a little Batman.
Let's see how it ends.
And so I feel like, yeah, we would consistently just leave him up there. Although I think at least with one rare occasion, we actually found a tent on at one place.
The cabin tent's the saddest.
That one was.
Oh, the cabin tent.
It was the windiest day on record. The day that we left the tent up there.
Yes, it was. So I think this was one we had pitched in on. It was like a $200 tent which at the time for all of us, that was like,
a lot of money.
If you could
like
find
buying a
$50
house.
to contribute,
Buying a house.
Yeah. It was like
We
that
took
was
a
like
mortgage on it.
yeah, right. We had made payments, layaway at Walmart. But so we had this like gigantic, like 10 by 12 tent. And it was like a cabin. It had like a square roof instead of like the
3
rounded
rooms.
ones.
You could like subdivide it. I
mean,
mean, rent it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, sublet it, like have like other people passing through. We have room. Come on in. Did we leave in the middle of the night or did we just leave in the morning and we left it up
We
there?
left it in the middle of the night.
Okay.
Okay. Wait.
What is this? That was the sand pit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the beach party.
The beach,
Beach party, pizza fest.
We left it in a rush because of the freaking helicopter.
Yeah, there was. This is a story. I swear to you, this is like one of those stories where I remember it clear as day, and I feel like I've told people before, and they have assumed that I was lying to them, and it's like I have no idea what else to say other than like it is how I remember it happening.
It sounds very made up if you were to like recall everything that happened.
Yes,
But then it's like everybody remembers it.
everyone remembers it. But yeah, so like we're like this was like I guess the way that we would have, air quotes parties in high school because we didn't have anywhere to go. So we would go into the woods and we were up there and we had like, just a myriad of like a speckling of tents and we're on the pipeline. So there's like you have to off-road to get there to begin with. But then like once you were there, you were sort of on this like it was a road.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy to get there, but it was enough of like a cleared space to where you were like well off the beaten path. But so we have like this whole, like occasion, whatever. And then all of a sudden it's probably like 2:00 in the morning and we just hear like helicopter overhead. We're like poke
With
our
a
heads.
spotlight.
Yeah, directly overhead.
Yeah. And we like poke our heads out and there's like a spotlight on the ground, like around our whole space. And it's like, we got to book it.
Get out of here.
We need to leave.
You're going to see all the Dr.
Because
Pepper.
it's technically like federal property.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So it's not like just communal land.
Right. It's like we're trespassing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But doing nothing wrong.
But doing nothing
Exactly.
wrong
Right.
otherwise.
In
Yeah.
hindsight, they were probably just looking to make sure it wasn't a forest fire
I
the pipeline.
But like,
I don't know.
Who owns the helicopter? Whose
a good point.
helicopter was it? Like that. I think that was the thing that always seemed weird
Especially
to me.
with
Like,
the spotlight.
yeah, like why were they up? What were they doing? Was there a coincidence? Like
Yeah.
so like someone like a missing person and they were like, could it be? But yeah, so anyway, like we like all piled into my Isuzu Trooper and like,
We booked it.
hightailed it. We went to the Walmart parking lot. You remember that? We're like, we'll just like spend the night in the Walmart parking lot.
And then we found out someone had an entirely empty house.
Yes,
Steven.
yes, it was Steven, my good friend Steven, probably listening right now. Has like
He's like, why didn't you mention this earlier?
right, his parents are like out of town. Has like a wide open house.
Yeah.
So we went to his house and spent it.
So the
But
next
then,
day,
the next
windiest
it
day
was
on
super
record.
windy.
yeah.
And just like what, like 20 yards, 30 yards is like this sharp cutoff down the
Ravine.
hill.
Yeah, yeah.
And we go to check it out not even the next day. It was like 2 days later.
Right.
And it was like, oh, we'll go up there and get it. And then we go up there and there's
tent's
no
gone.
tent.
Yeah.
And you look down the hill and it's like just torn to shreds, like
just
down the
gone.
hill. And we're
It was like
yeah.
annihilated.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
brand new tent.
brand new time.
man.
Yeah.
Well, that was like the other things that we'd always be like, well, we'll just leave the tent. Like, it's going to be so much effort to break the tent down.
Right.
We'll come
Right.
back later.
Yeah,
And
we'll come
get
back
it.
later.
And
Yeah.
like, obviously we just never did most of the time.
Yeah,
Right.
nobody,
We had-
nobody's
we
gonna
had-
take it.
Yeah, like,
this
where's
is
it
so
gonna
far
go?
out there.
This is like one of the rare occasions we genuinely came back to get the tent. You know, we had a mortgage on this tent. We gotta take care of it. Like, let's go get it.
is our
Gone.
tent.
Yeah.
We only got one use out of that tent.
Barely,
use.
if that.
yeah, half a night.
Half a night. Yeah, and it was the nicest tent we ever owned.
Got sand everywhere.
I know. That was the other thing is that like the efforts that I was going to. Sorry to rope you guys in on that one. I was like carting sand up for like days leading up to this occasion to have like I was like, it would be so cool. We'll have like tiki torches and like a sand pit and like I'll have my like the back of my truck open with the subwoofers and like the street glow and we'll have like a dance party.
Yeah, like a beach dance party in the woods.
And how big was like the sand pit? Was it like a 3x4 square or something? It was like
5x5. I mean, it was like
it wasn't that much for like a party and
it was
dancing.
okay. In my head, it was bigger when I was like looking at
Right.
it at Lowe's, and then like I laid it out, you know, because I bought like putting green, you know, like it was like green felted fabric you might put like on a screened-in porch, and yeah. So once it was up there and in the woods, it felt very small. It was insufficiently large for really anything. And then it was like,
then
what's
as
up
soon
with
as
it's
you-
like,
yeah.
what's up with the sand? You know, that's kind of weird.
Step on it. It's fun. You dance when you're on the sand.
Take your shoes off. Take
Right.
your shoes off.
And then you take your shoes off, and then you like step off of it, and it's like rocks,
Yeah.
Right.
sticks. You're like, oh, let me go back on the sand pit, I guess.
Right. Yeah. So I would say well worth it.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, every time, worth it.
Worth it.
Every time, every tent, worth it.
Every time.
See, and this I actually feel bad for our significant others because basically every single time the four of us get together, we pretty much recap all of our stories. So
Yeah.
like
there's a lot.
I think at this point in time, especially Beth and Sarah, who have been here for a long time, have probably heard so many of our stories just on repeat.
But now they're starting to be part of the stories.
True.
So
Exactly.
like Beth like destroying all of us, hanging onto that column in the
Oh my
cabin.
gosh.
Oh,
I don't know how she did that.
It was the most unusual thing. Like
Totally not. Yeah, nobody thought that was gonna happen. It's
yeah.
like, oh, well, maybe like John got it. Maybe John has it. Like he's pretty good. Or Ben has like been rock climbing. Maybe he's got it.
Right.
No, Beth's gonna
Like,
just
no.
she's gonna be on there for so long she has to get down by herself.
Right.
You're like,
So-
okay, it's not fun anymore. You can get down.
we were in the Smoky Mountains. We had rented a cabin together, and in the middle of this cabin that we had rented was like a tree. Right? Is that the best way to
Not
describe
yet,
it?
I think
so.
It's a
Yeah.
full tree trunk that they used as a column.
As a
Yeah.
column or a post, yeah. And so we were, naturally like, hey, who can like wrap their legs around it and hang on the longest?
Like, obviously, first thing you do when you come in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we got to do it. And so I feel like we were doing it like 2 minutes would have been like a good score.
Yeah.
You know, like that was like, wow, like you like, it'd be like flex arm hang or something. Like, it's like that took like some real strength. Beth like walks up to it and I would say all four of us are fit,
Yeah.
right? Fair assessment.
Yeah.
And Beth walks up and who's also fit, but she walks up and like grips onto it and 20 minutes or something. I mean, she didn't just like beat us. She like destroyed
Yeah,
us.
it got uncomfortable. It was like, well, should we just tell her to get down? Because like, no one's gonna beat this.
No one's
Yeah.
gonna beat this. No one's gonna beat this. But it's yeah.
Throw some gummy bears.
It's such a classic GMA challenge is Outlast. Like, do you guys remember when we did the soup can
Oh
thing?
yeah, we told Michael Austin to do
God.
like for 20 minutes because he wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
yeah, I got there late, and they're just like, do it, hold it. I was like, okay.
Yeah, we all did it for 20 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the challenge is if you how long can you take a can of soup and just hold it directly parallel to the ground with your hand on top of the can before you can like drop it.
Right.
And the answer is like probably less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Even though the can of soup is not that heavy.
Right.
It's just a weird set of muscles.
And it's a really fun challenge to do with your friends because for one, it doesn't take very long, and two, it becomes slightly hilarious to watch somebody like absolutely sweating, struggling to hold a can of soup out in front of
Yeah.
them. So like if you were to walk in on somebody doing this, 4.5, 5 minutes in,
Which I did.
you would see,
Yeah.
you would see somebody like on the brink, like barely hanging on for dear life. So yeah, Mike walks in.
I walk in, they're just like, oh my gosh, my arm is destroyed. It's like, oh, we did it for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
give it a try. It's like, okay. And I hold it, and it's like, I don't even know how long I held it for.
I think you held it for like 8 minutes.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
doubled us.
You did it like
well, because of the
way,
shoulders.
way longer. Yeah, the shoulders were definitely what did it. Yeah, they were like bulging. But yeah, so it was like we had set this expectation of like what was normal for Mike, which was completely not normal based on anything. But he's sitting there, at 8 minutes, doubling our time, but thinking he's 12 minutes short of our time.
Thinking he's a total failure.
Oh my gosh, I'm terrible at this.
Right.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
It's like, I have no idea how you guys did this for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But we survived.
Can you imagine if we each just done it for 20 minutes? So it's like an hour of fun.
It's like, right.
How late was I?
What a better way to have a great time than to hang out, hold out a can of soup. But man, so there you go. Little bit of insight into the GMA, our origin story, the 2020 gift exchange. We've lots of highlights, lots of good stuff to be covered. But we want to give a huge thank you to John and Mike for coming on, being a part of the Pop for our 1 year anniversary episode.
Yeah.
Was it fun? Okay, here's the last question for you guys. Was it fun? And also, do you guys listen to the Pop because we talk about you all the time?
We do. I just started to.
Okay.
And
I
my
listened
wife,
to- oh, sorry.
I didn't really know how to do the podcast yet, so she's telling me how to do it and catching me up. So I'm gonna be a listener. But really, this is just so overwhelmingly awesome to see you guys like in your element.
Yeah.
And again, the very first like 30 seconds of this just blew me away. It's like you guys were not like, you didn't even look at each other. It was just like someone pressed record and it was like a totally light went off and these guys are just going. So it's just like, I'm not talking right now. I'm just gonna let them do
Yeah,
their thing.
John just started
I'm just
recording.
gonna
He's like,
sit
I can't
here.
believe what
Yeah.
I'm watching right
I have
now.
a recording of it. So it was
man.
very awesome.
That's so
Yeah.
weird. So like so there was a switch flip.
Oh,
like
yes.
it was different.
Yep.
Yeah.
I even asked you guys got a script and you're like, we have bullet points. And then it was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's
man.
interesting. That's interesting. We always talk about how like in real life, the perception of our personalities is always like flipped.
It is
Because like people probably assume you're more reserved and that I'm more outspoken.
Yeah.
But that in real life we're normally a little different. But I think no matter what, once like the camera goes on or the mic, we press record, it's like, all right,
It's the
let's
great,
go, hey brother.
great equalizer. That's so true. That's so true. Well, that's taking time though. I would
Yeah.
say this is like, whenever you go back to the origins of the Super Carlin Brothers YouTube channel and you see the difference between Jay and me in the first 6 to 8 months / 2 years. It was a big difference. But anyway, I don't know that we ever would have become the people that we are without the two other people who are on the Pop with us. So thank you guys for
Yeah,
your massive
definitely.
influence on our lives.
Of course.
It's been too much fun. If you are listening and would like to support us on Patreon, you can do so by going to patreon.com/popcornculture. Or if you just
all
want
you want to do is just scroll down and click on Jazzy J.
yeah,
That is all you do. Don't look at the other options.
look at the other options. They're clearly the best
no
one.
reason to look at the other options. You click Jazzy J and you're supporting us on Patreon. Well done.
Wow.
Bravo.
Wow. That doesn't feel biased at all.
Nah, look, there are other options, but like nothing's as great as Jazzy J.
Yeah, there's another one alphabetically that comes first. So check out that Buzzy Bee option.
Just check it out.
Just check it out. Just check it out. I mean, it feels like maybe you don't want to try too hard, like an appropriate level, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys have any feedback on the episode, you want to send it to popcornculturepod@gmail.com. Otherwise, we will see you guys next week.
Pop, pop!